So real quick before we get into the video, I need to be honest, I have no idea how this audio is going to sound. I didn't bring my key light to college, so that's a thing. And this background is very much a work in progress, but we're going to roll with it. If I end up deciding everything's terrible, it'll get fixed in future videos. This is just the genesis, if you will. Hey, what's up everyone? My name's Josh Winiarski, and I'm a photographer, filmmaker, and vlogger here on YouTube as well as Instagram. And today's video is going to be all about when to buy a new lens, or if you even need to buy a new lens. So let's get into it. So the idea for this video came to me a couple weeks ago when I bought my first new lens in a while, a Sigma 17-50. So I thought, hey, why not make a video talking about why I bought this lens, why I thought it was necessary, and maybe to help some of you figure out if you should buy a new lens or just stick with what you've got. Now, I'm gonna say this right off the bat. You on the other side of the screen, you probably don't need a new lens. I mean, maybe you do, if you want to shoot sports and you only have a wide angle, or if you want to shoot buildings and you only have a telephoto, or if your lens is cracked or broken, yeah, you kind of need a new one. But for the most part, you do not need a new lens. See, my philosophy is you don't buy a lens because it looks cool, because someone you know has it, because it has a red ring and you want to flex your extra cash. You buy a lens when you decide that it'll help you with the content you create, when it's going to make the pictures you take, the videos you take better. Now, this might seem kind of obvious, but I'm going to tell you real quick about some of the reasons I picked up this 17-50, and hopefully you get the idea of why you see I thought it was necessary and why I think it's gonna help my work. So a couple weeks ago, for the most part, I was pretty set on my collection of lenses. I had a pretty good kit. I had a portrait lens that worked for me. I had an Astro lens, which I acquired this summer. I had a telephoto, which was getting the job done. But what I didn't have was a decent general purpose lens. Now, to be fair, I have a 24mm prime, which is on my camera right now. I've got a 40mm prime, a 50mm prime. So I have good lenses in the general focal range, but I ended up pretty much never using a lot of them. And it's not that they're bad lenses. They're great for the price, but I got real tired of having to carry multiple lenses and switch between them just to get the shots I wanted. What this actually meant, and this is true on my Instagram if you go check it out, like 90% of my shots ended up just being taken on the kit lens. And not that there's anything wrong with the kit lens, but it's certainly not the sharpest tool in the shed, and it's not very good in even moderate to low light because the aperture stops down to 5.6 if you zoom in all the way. So pretty much what I'm getting at is my general purpose lens, the lens I use the most, my walk around lens, my landscape, my general purpose event photography, my main lens was my worst lens. And that made no sense after a while. So while these two lenses, the 18-55 and the 17-50 look very similar, the 17-50 blows it out of the water in pretty much every aspect. The biggest difference is the 17-50 has a constant 2.8 aperture, so it's letting in more light on the wide end and 4 times as much light on the telephoto end. On top of that, you're getting a blurrier background, just better build quality. It's a sharper lens, it's just a better lens overall. The only downside is you lose 5mm when you zoom in, but that's not really a big deal. Because it goes down to 2.8, I can use it for portraits, I can use it in low light. It goes to 17mm, making it great for landscapes. It's just an awesome event photography, even a little astrophotography. It's just a jack of all trades lens. Plus it has image stabilization, making it even better for low light if you need to use that slow shutter speed, or it's good for video as well. But how did I find this lens? How did I decide this was the one I wanted? Sorry, a little bit sick still. But how did I find this lens? How did I decide this is the lens I want? That's what we're going to talk about right now. I'm going to take you through some of the steps that I used to pick this lens out, and hopefully it'll help you decide if you need a lens, and if you do, which one's going to be the best for you. So step number one, question number one, the first thing you always want to ask yourself is, why are you buying a new lens in the first place? Have you been binge watching YouTube too much? Just watching a ton of reviews and all of a sudden you've got this money burning a hole in your pocket and you just want to go buy a new lens with it? Are your pictures lacking and you've discerned that, okay, if I buy a new lens, these pictures are gonna look better? Or is there something you physically cannot shoot with your current lenses and you need a new lens to shoot that? Again, if you have a wide angle, you probably want a telephoto for sports and wildlife, or vice versa, and that's typically the best reason to buy a new lens. Okay, so now that you have a valid reason, whether it's focal range, low light capabilities, weight, whatever, the next thing you want to do is find 3 lenses that check pretty much all the boxes you want. 3 lenses that you would consider buying that you think are gonna meet your needs. For me, that was the Sigma 17-70, 2.8 to 4, the Canon 17-55 f2.8, and the Sigma 17-50 2.8. Now, once you've got 3 lenses that you think might fit the bill, you want to shop around, compare and contrast them, and figure out which one is going to be the best fit for you. So again, I'm going to tell you kind of my process for doing this, the things I knew I didn't want to give up, and the things that I kind of could live without. So because I was looking for a general purpose lens, one of the big things I knew I wanted is I wanted it faster than the 18-55, and if possible, I wanted it to match the prime lenses that I wasn't using because of their inconvenience. Now, I really like the focal range of the 18-55, so I knew I wanted to stay close to that, but right off the bat, I wanted something faster. 3.5 to 5.6 wasn't cutting it. What I wanted was something either like the 50mm, which went down to 1.8, or at the very least similar to the 40 and 24mm that go down to 2.8. Again, I want this lens to be super versatile for walking around. Don't know what I'm going to be shooting, but I can slap a lens on and have it do pretty much everything pretty well. Now, both the Canon 17-55 and the Sigma 70-50 had a constant 2.8, which I really like. The 17-70 went from 2.8 to 4, which was better than the kit lens, but I didn't like that it went to f4, so checked that one off, decided that wasn't gonna work for me. Now, these 2 lenses, the Canon 17-55 and the Sigma 17-50, are very similar. They both have image stabilization, both a constant aperture of 2.8, and they both go down to 17mm. The only big difference is the Canon has an extra 5mm, and a much bigger price tag. I shopped around, I looked at new, I looked at used, but even on the used sites I looked at, the Canon was going to be at least $100 more than a used Sigma, so I had to decide, was it worth it? Now, something else worth noting was the Canon had a much quieter motor. One thing about the Sigma is it's not going to be great for run and gun video because you can hear the motor focusing if you're using an onboard microphone. And this was almost a deal breaker for me. I was like, I don't like that. I don't want to hear the motor. What if I want to use this for run and gun video? I don't know. But then I took a step back, took a breath, and I thought about, why was I buying this lens again? I wanted it for general purpose photography. I wanted to use it for B-roll, and sure, I might end up using it for video, but that wasn't its primary purpose. I certainly wasn't gonna vlog with it, so if I did need to use it for video, I could always use an external microphone and it would work just fine. Plus, if I did need sound, I could always manual focus as well. So in the end, I went with the Sigma instead of the Canon, and so far, I'm loving it. That just sounded like a McDonald's ad. So I've used the lens for B-roll in my last video. Oh my gosh, not having to switch between a 24, a 40, and a 50 is like the most amazing feeling in the world. And on top of that, I've taken pictures like this one last weekend. And I'm actually working on a short film, which we have a boom mic, so it doesn't matter that the motor's a little bit noisy. When I say that, it's not bad, it's just that the camera can pick it up with an onboard. Regardless, I'm pretty sure I made the right choice, and I'm honestly considering selling all my primes because I think I'm just gonna reach for this lens 95% of the time. The only thing I do like about the primes is they have STM motors, but that's one of those features that I'm probably not gonna need most of the time. I'm still figuring it out. Overall, as long as you're not using an onboard microphone for video, this thing is a beast for video, and it's still incredible for photography. Again, the image stabilization makes it good for B-roll and handheld shots. The only downside, and the one thing I gave up, was using onboard audio with this lens while taking video. Anyways, in case you couldn't tell, I'm making this video from the perspective of someone who owns a decent amount of gear, so hopefully this helps you kind of not fall into that trap and only buy the things that you actually need. Like any hobby, it's one of those things where it's super easy to fall into the trap of spending more time researching the gear and less time actually using it. So hopefully this gets you off the couch and overall just gets you out there taking photos, making videos, whatever it is you like to do. Now the point of this video isn't to discourage you. If you've got the money or you know a lens is going to boost your production value, it's going to make your content better, go for it. This is just to hopefully get you thinking a little more about what you need, what lenses to buy, so you can make the best content for your money. There's a big difference between what you need and what would be cool to own. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to like it. If you have any questions, have any comments, hit up that comment section down below. And if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again for watching. My name's Josh Winiarski. Check me out on Instagram. And question of the day, what's your favorite all-arounder lens? Or what's the biggest purchase you've made in the realm of photography, videography, or I guess in life? What's the biggest purchase you've made and then used like once or twice and never used again? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.